The station was dying. Velthar could feel it in the way the metal groaned beneath his feet, in the flickering lights that had once burned steady and bright. He moved slowly through the empty corridors, his old bones aching with each step. The air tasted stale, recycled too many times through failing systems. He was the last one. All the others had been taken away 3 cycles ago, loaded onto Dominion transport ships like cargo. The young ones went to the labor camps. The skilled ones went to the factories. The old ones like him were usually just left to die, but Velthar had hidden well. He knew every corner of this station. He had helped build it, back when his people were still free. The communications room was at the heart of the station, sealed behind doors that no longer locked. Velthar pushed them open and stepped inside. The equipment was ancient by galactic standards, but it still worked. He had been saving power for weeks, routing everything he could to this one room. He had enough energy for one transmission, one chance to send a message into the void and hope someone, anyone, would hear it. His hands shook as he worked the controls. The Kesari had never been warriors. They were builders, artists, teachers. When the Dominion came, his people had tried to negotiate. They offered trade, shared their knowledge, opened their worlds. The Dominion took everything and gave nothing back but chains. That was 3 generations ago. Velthar was one of the few left who remembered freedom. He remembered the songs his people used to sing, the festivals they celebrated, the joy of creating something beautiful just because they could. All of that was gone now. The Dominion had crushed it piece by piece until nothing remained but empty shells working in endless labor. He began recording. His voice was rough with age and grief. This is Velthar of the Kesari people, broadcasting on all emergency frequencies. If anyone receives this message, please hear our plea. We are enslaved. Our species has been under Dominion control for 73 standard cycles. They took our freedom, our culture, our future. He paused, gathering strength to continue. We are not warriors. We do not know how to fight. But we are dying. Our population has decreased by 60%. Our children are born into slavery and know nothing else. The Dominion will not stop with us. They expand constantly, always seeking new species to conquer, new worlds to strip bare. His fingers moved across the console, attaching data files to the transmission, location codes, information about Dominion fleet movements, everything he had gathered during his months of hiding. We seek help from anyone who will listen. Mercenaries, traders, anyone with resources. We cannot pay much, but we have knowledge to share, skills to offer. Please, someone, anyone, help us. He sent the message and watched it disappear into space, carried by subspace waves toward distant stars. Then he sat back and waited. He did not expect a response. The Dominion controlled all the nearby systems. Most species had learned not to interfere. Those who tried usually joined the Kesari in slavery, but he had to try. Even if no one came, at least he had done something. At least he had not gone quietly into the darkness. The message traveled for weeks, bouncing between relay stations, spreading through the galactic network. Most who received it ignored it. Some felt sympathy but lacked the power to help. A few forwarded it along, adding it to the endless stream of distress calls that filled the void between stars. Then it reached Earth. Commander, Daejung was reviewing supply reports when his communications officer interrupted him. Sir, we have received something unusual. A distress call, but not from any known human vessel or station. Daejung looked up from his desk. He was a tall man with gray starting to show in his dark hair. 20 years in the Navy had taught him to recognize the tone in his officer's voice. This was important. Put it through. He listened to Velthar's message 3 times. Each time his expression grew darker. The translator had done its work, converting the alien's words into clear English. The desperation in that voice needed no translation. Within hours, the message had reached the highest levels of Earth's government. The United Earth Space Command had been formed only 5 years earlier, after humanity achieved faster-than-light travel. They had found a few other species in nearby systems, established peaceful contact, but had not yet encountered anything like this. The debates began immediately. Some argued Earth should not get involved. This was a galactic problem, and humanity was too new to space to take sides in alien conflicts. Others said that turning away would make Earth complicit in slavery. If humanity did not stand against tyranny among the stars, what had they learned from their own history? Dae-jung attended the command meeting where the decision would be made. He listened to the arguments on both sides, then stood to speak. "I have spent my career protecting people," he said quietly. "That is what the military is supposed to do. Not conquer, not dominate, protect. This distress call is asking for protection. If we turn away now, we tell the entire galaxy that Earth only cares about Earth, that we have not evolved beyond our worst instincts." He looked around the room at the assembled admirals and politicians. "We have the capability to respond. We have ships, trained personnel, weapons. We have everything except the will to act. I am asking this council to find that will." The debate continued for 2 more days. In the end, the vote was close, but the decision was made. Earth would respond to the distress call, not with a diplomatic mission or a fact-finding team. With a military fleet, Dae-jung was given command. He was told to assess the situation and provide assistance if possible, but to prioritize the safety of his crew. Earth could not afford to lose ships or personnel in a conflict they did not fully understand. The fleet assembled at Earth's primary orbital station. 12 warships ranging from fast destroyers to the massive flagship Indomitable. 4,000 personnel in total, each one a volunteer who had heard the distress call and chosen to answer it. Captain Hana commanded the Indomitable. She was a short woman with sharp eyes and a reputation for tactical brilliance. When Dae-jung came aboard to inspect the flagship, she met him at the airlock. "Commander, the ship is ready. The crew is ready. Are we really doing this?" Dae-jung smiled slightly. "We are really doing this. Any concerns?" "Just one. We know almost nothing about this Dominion. We do not know their numbers, their weapons, their tactics. We are flying into a situation completely blind. Then we will adapt. That is what humans do best." The fleet's departure was broadcast across Earth. Millions watched as the ships moved away from the station, their engines burning bright against the darkness of space. Some saw it as humanity's finest moment. Others saw it as foolish risk. All agreed it was a defining moment in human history. Lieutenant Tae-wan sat at the helm of the Indomitable, his hand steady on the controls. He was young for his rank, but no one questioned his skill. He had logged more flight hours than most pilots, twice his age. This was his first major mission, and he could feel his heart racing with excitement and fear. Dr. Bo-ra was in her laboratory, reviewing everything humanity knew about alien biology. It was not much. She had studied the few species Earth had encountered, but the Kesari were completely unknown. She needed to be prepared for anything. As the fleet prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, Dae-jung recorded a log entry. "This is Commander Dae-jung of the United Earth Space Command. We are departing Earth in response to a distress call from the Kesari people. Our mission is liberation, not conquest. Protection, not domination. We go not as invaders, but as defenders. To any who hear this message in the future, we are not going to start a war. We are going to end one." He paused, then added quietly, "Let us hope they understand the difference." The fleet jumped. Space twisted around them as they entered FTL travel, leaving Earth behind and heading toward a war none of them could fully imagine. The fleet dropped out of FTL travel at the edge of the Kesari system. For a moment, everything was silent. Then the sensor screens came alive with contacts. "Commander, we have multiple ships on scan," the sensor officer reported. "Count is 15 vessels, spread across standard patrol positions. Configuration matches military patterns." Dae-jung stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, studying the tactical display. The enemy ships were arranged in a grid pattern, each one positioned to cover a specific zone of space. It was efficient but predictable. "Are those the Dominion forces?" he asked. "Unknown, sir. They match the fleet composition described in the distress call. Heavy cruiser class, energy weapon signatures." Captain Hana moved to stand beside him. "That formation is designed to intimidate, not to defend. They are spread too thin to support each other effectively." Dae-jung nodded. "Open all channels." "Let us try talking first." The communications officer worked quickly. "Channels open, sir. Attention unknown vessels. This is Commander Dae-jung of the United Earth Space Command. We received a distress call from this system. We come in peace and request dialogue." The response came within seconds, but it was not words. Every Dominion ship locked weapons onto the human fleet. Targeting alarms filled the bridge. "They are not interested in talking," Hana said calmly. Lieutenant Tae-wan gripped his controls. "Sir, they are moving into attack formation. Should I take evasive action?" "Not yet. Hold position. Let us see what they do." The Dominion ships began advancing, their weapons charging. The human sensor officers watched in fascination as the enemy tactics unfolded. The ships moved together in a tight wall, presenting a unified front of firepower. "They are trying to overwhelm us with mass," Hana observed. "They expect us to break and run." "Then they do not know humans very well," Daejong replied. He touched his comm unit. "All ships, this is the commander. Prepare electronic warfare suite. Do not return fire. I want them confused, not dead. Not yet." The Dominion fleet opened fire. Beams of concentrated energy lanced across space, brilliant and deadly. The human ships scattered like leaves in the wind, each one moving in a different direction with acceleration that should have been impossible for vessels their size. On the lead Dominion ship, High Commander Wrath watched the humans evade with contempt. He was a large being, his reptilian features scarred from years of combat. He had crushed 17 rebellions and conquered 12 species. These newcomers were no different, pathetic. They flee like prey animals. Pursue and destroy them. His fleet advanced, weapons firing in coordinated salvos. But the humans were not fleeing. They were scattering. And as the Dominion ships charged forward, the human vessels deployed their electronic warfare systems. Every Dominion sensor screen went dark. Communication channels filled with static. Targeting computers lost their locks. In an instant, Wrath's carefully coordinated fleet became 15 blind ships stumbling through space. "What is happening?" Wrath roared. "Restore systems immediately." His technicians worked frantically, but they had never encountered anything like this. The human jamming was sophisticated, targeted, and completely effective. By the time they managed to restore basic sensors, the human fleet had regrouped at the far edge of the system. Daejong broadcast again. "Dominion forces, this is your final warning. We are from Earth. We received a distress call from the Kessari people. Stand down and we will not engage. Continue this aggression and we will respond with force." Wrath's response was to call for reinforcements. Within an hour, 30 more Dominion warships arrived in the system. They were larger than the patrol ships, bristling with weapons and armor. Wrath felt confidence return. No species could stand against this much firepower. "Attention, Earth vessels. You are outmatched and surrounded. Surrender your ships and submit to Dominion authority. This is your only warning." On the Indomitable, the bridge crew watched the new arrivals with concern. They were now facing 45 enemy ships, each one larger than any human vessel. "Sir, we are badly outnumbered," the tactical officer said quietly. "Numbers are not everything," Hana replied. She was studying the enemy formation with a calculating expression. "They are still using that wall pattern. They rely on concentrated firepower, but that makes them slow to adapt." Daejong activated the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, hear me clearly. We did not come here to start a war, but we will not back down from one. These people, these Dominion forces, they enslave entire species. They crush freedom and call it order. We will not let that stand. Not today. Not ever." He paused, making sure every crew member heard his next words. "We are from Earth. Our planet tried to kill us every single day of our evolution. We survived ice ages, predators, diseases, disasters. We learned to adapt, to fight, to never give up. Today we show the galaxy what that means. Today we stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. Are you with me?" The response came from 4,000 voices across 12 ships. "Yes, sir." Tae-Wan felt electricity run through him. This was it. This was the moment that would define everything. In his hiding place on the dying station, Velthar watched the tactical display he had managed to access. His heart sank when he saw the Dominion reinforcements arrive. The tiny Earth fleet was doomed. They had come to help, and now they would die like all the others who had tried. But then something unexpected happened. The human fleet did not flee. They did not surrender. Instead, they began moving in patterns that made no sense to Velthar's understanding of space combat. Daejong gave the order. "All ships engage. Show them what Deathworlders can do." The Indomitable surged forward with acceleration that defied physics. Tae-Wan pushed the engines to limits that would have torn apart any normal ship. But human vessels were built to withstand forces their crews could survive, and humans could survive much more than any other species in the galaxy. The Dominion fleet fired everything they had. Energy weapons blazed across space in a storm of destruction. The human ships dove through the barrage, twisting and turning with impossible agility. Some shots connected. But human shields were designed by a species that had to protect themselves from cosmic radiation, solar flares, and asteroid impacts. They held. Hana watched the enemy formation begin to compress as Dominion commanders tried to tighten their wall. They are doing exactly what we expected. Preparing attack pattern Delta. Pattern Delta confirmed, Daejung agreed. He opened the fleet channel. All ships deploy kinetic weapons on my mark. Target their forward vessels. 3, 2, 1, mark. Every human ship launched a salvo of tungsten rods. Simple metal projectiles accelerated to tremendous speeds. The Dominion had shields designed to deflect energy weapons, but solid matter traveling at relativistic velocity was something else entirely. 3 Dominion ships disappeared in explosions of shattered metal. Their shields had simply not been designed for this type of attack. Wrath stared at his display in shock. What was that? What kind of primitive weapons are these? His tactical officer was equally confused. Sir, they are using solid projectiles. Physical matter. We have no defense against that. Then Titan formation. Mutual shield support. They cannot penetrate if we work together. The Dominion fleet pulled closer together, each ship moving to support its neighbors. It was a textbook defensive maneuver. It was also exactly what Daejung wanted them to do. Now they are packed together like fish in a barrel, Hana said with satisfaction. Lieutenant Taewon, take your fighter squadron and show them what knife fighting means. Taewon grinned. Yes, ma'am. This is going to be fun. He launched from the Indomitable along with 50 other fighters. They were small, fast, and piloted by humans whose reflexes had been honed on a world where a split-second decision meant the difference between life and death. The fighters dove into the Dominion formation like wolves attacking a herd. They flew so close to the enemy ships that targeting systems could not track them. Human pilots weaved between vessels, fired at point-blank range, then vanished before return fire could reach them. Wrath watched in horror as his fleet began to tear itself apart. Ships fired at the human fighters and hit each other instead. Captains shouted contradictory orders. The perfect discipline of the Dominion war machine was fracturing under pressure it had never been designed to face. This is impossible, Wrath whispered. What are these creatures? Dr. Bora had managed to establish a secure channel to Velthar. Can you hear me? My name is Bora. I am from Earth. We are here to help. Velthar's voice was shaking. What are you doing? How are you doing this? The Dominion has never been defeated. We are fighting, Bora replied simply. The way every species from Earth learned to fight. With everything we have. Without fear. Without stopping. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Daejung watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. The Dominion ships were breaking formation. Some tried to flee. Others fought in isolated groups. The fleet that had seemed so overwhelming was now just a collection of confused, frightened ships. He broadcast one final message to the Dominion forces. This is your last chance. Surrender now. We do not want to kill you, but we will end this threat to the Kesari people. Choose. Wrath heard the message and felt something he had not experienced in decades. Fear. Real, honest fear. These humans were not prey. The battle entered its 3rd hour, and High Commander Wrath was learning what desperation felt like. His fleet of 45 ships had been reduced to 38. 7 vessels destroyed not by superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but by tactics that made no sense to him. The humans fought like they had no rules, no honor, no predictable patterns. Restore order, he commanded. All ships maintain formation discipline. But his captains were panicking. They had spent their careers crushing weak opponents who surrendered quickly or died quickly. None of them knew how to handle an enemy that was neither weak nor predictable. On the Indomitable, Captain Hana studied the tactical display with the focus of a chess master 3 moves from victory. The Dominion fleet had pulled back into a defensive cluster, all ships facing outward like a cornered animal showing its teeth. They think proximity will save them, she said to Daejung. They believe we will not attack a unified formation. Then we teach them another lesson, Daejung replied. He activated the fleet channel. All ships, this is Wolfpack formation. Break into groups of 3. Each group selects a target. Hit from different angles, then scatter. Do not give them time to adapt. The human fleet split into 4 groups. Each group consisted of 3 ships working together with the precision of pack hunters. They had trained for this. Humanity's naval doctrine was built on flexibility and adaptation. Lieutenant Taewon led the first attack run. His fighter squadron dove toward the Dominion formation from above, below, and both sides simultaneously. The enemy tried to track them, but human pilots were trained to handle high-gravity maneuvers that would have killed most other species. "Stay tight," Taewon called to his squadron. "Make them waste ammunition. On my mark, scatter and regroup at Point Delta." The Dominion ships fired everything they had. Space lit up with energy beams. But the fighters were already moving, braking in different directions. Not a single shot connected. Then Taewon gave the order. "All wings firing now." 50 fighters launched missiles at point-blank range. The small warheads punched through Dominion shields that were already weakened from constant firing. 3 more enemy ships erupted in flames. "That is for the Kasari," Taewon said quietly. On the Dominion command ship, Wrath's tactical officer was near collapse. "Sir, we cannot track their movements. Our targeting computers are not designed for these acceleration patterns. They should not be able to survive those forces." "What do you mean they should not survive?" Wrath demanded. "Sir, the G-forces they are pulling would kill any of our pilots. Their bones should break. Their organs should rupture. But they just keep flying." For the first time, Wrath truly understood what he was facing. These humans were from a death world, a planet so hostile that surviving it had made them capable of things other species could not even imagine. The second wave of attacks came from the human cruisers. They approached in a weaving pattern, each ship moving independently but working together like fingers of the same hand. The Dominion tried to focus fire on individual ships, but the humans simply spread out further. "Deploy railguns," Hana ordered. "Target their heavy cruisers. I want their command structure broken." The railguns were simple weapons. Magnetic acceleration launching solid projectiles at incredible speeds. But they were devastatingly effective against enemies who had never needed to defend against physical ammunition. The tungsten rounds tore through Dominion armor like paper. 2 command ships lost propulsion. Another had its main reactor damaged. The shots came so fast that the enemy had no time to react between impacts. Dr. Bora watched from her station, her hands clenched. She hated violence, but she understood its necessity here. She kept her channel to Velthar open, narrating what was happening. "We are not trying to destroy them all," she explained. "We are trying to break their will to fight. Show them that resistance is too costly." Velthar's voice was filled with awe. "In 3 generations, no one has ever hurt them like this. You are doing what we thought impossible." "You never had the chance to try," Bora replied gently. "They attacked you without warning, without mercy. You were victims, not failures." The battle shifted again. A group of Dominion ships tried to break away from the main formation and flank the human fleet. It was a good tactical decision, showing someone among the enemy commanders still had courage. Daejung saw the movement immediately. "Captain Hana, they are trying to split our attention. Send 3 ships to intercept that flanking group. Keep them busy, but do not commit to a full engagement." "Already on it," Hana replied. She was enjoying this in a way that would have troubled her if she had time to think about it. This was what she had trained for. This was what all her years of studying military history had prepared her for. The human ships sent to intercept the flanking group moved with deceptive speed. They did not try to destroy the enemy vessels. Instead, they harassed them. Hit-and-run attacks, disabling shots that took out sensors or weapons but left the ships functional. "We want prisoners," Daejung had ordered. "We need to understand them, and we need survivors to carry our message back to their empire." The Dominion flanking group found itself unable to advance or retreat. Every time they tried to move, human ships appeared from a different angle. It was psychological warfare as much as military combat. Wrath watched his carefully planned maneuver fall apart. His best captains were being toyed with like children playing soldier. The humiliation burned worse than the losses. "All ships, full weapons release," he ordered in desperation. "Fire everything."
"Kill them all!"
The Dominion fleet unleashed every weapon at once. Energy beams, missiles, kinetic rounds from their own rail systems. It was a storm of destruction that should have obliterated the human fleet. But the humans had been waiting for exactly this. Daejung had seen the signs of desperation in the enemy movements. He knew this moment was coming. "All ships, evasive pattern Omega, now!" The human fleet scattered like startled birds. Each ship moved in a different direction, but all of them were moving away from the center point where the Dominion had concentrated their fire. The massive barrage exploded in empty space, hitting nothing but vacuum. And while the Dominion weapons were recharging, the humans struck back. Taiwan brought his fighters in so close to the enemy flagship that he could see individual hull panels. He armed a special warhead, one designed for precision rather than destruction. Target locked. Firing. The missile hit the Dominion command ship's communication array dead center. The explosion was small, controlled, but it completely destroyed the ship's ability to coordinate with the rest of the fleet. Suddenly, Wrath could not speak to his other captains. He could not give orders. He could not coordinate attacks. His fleet was now just 35 individual ships with no central command. Restore communications, Wrath screamed at his crew. But the humans had destroyed the primary array and damaged the backups. It would take hours to repair, and the battle was happening now. Without Wrath's voice directing them, the Dominion captains began making their own decisions. Some tried to flee, some tried to fight, some tried to surrender. The result was chaos. Hana watched it unfold with satisfaction. They trained for one style of warfare. Overwhelming force under central command. Take away that command and they do not know what to do. Daejung nodded. Time to end this. Send the surrender terms to all enemy ships. The message went out on every frequency. Dominion forces, this is Commander Daejung. Your command structure is broken. Your fleet is defeated. You have fought with courage, but this battle is over. Power down your weapons and you will be treated with respect and dignity. Continue fighting, and we will do what is necessary to protect ourselves and the Kessari people. You have 2 minutes to decide. On 35 different ships, captains looked at their tactical displays and saw the truth. They were outmatched, not in numbers or firepower, but in skill, adaptability, and pure determination. One by one, ships began powering down weapons. Some captains cried, some raged, but they all made the same choice. Survival over pride. 15 ships surrendered immediately. 10 more followed within a minute. 5 ships tried to flee the system at maximum speed. The humans let them go, not out of mercy, but because Daejung wanted some Dominion survivors to return home and tell the story of what happened here. 5 ships refused to surrender. Their captains were too proud or too afraid of punishment from their superiors. They fought to the last, forcing the humans to destroy them. Daejung regretted every death, but he could not let threats to his crew or the Kessari remain. When it was over, the sensor screens showed 15 human ships intact and operational. 15 Dominion ships surrendered, and debris fields where 12 enemy vessels had been destroyed. The Battle of Kessari Prime had lasted 6 hours. By galactic standards, that was impossibly fast. Most wars between spacefaring species took years, even decades. But humans did not fight by galactic standards. Velthar stared at his display in absolute shock. You won. You actually won. Against the Dominion. Against ships that have conquered a dozen species. Bora's voice was gentle in his ear. We did not win alone. You survived long enough to call for help. You never gave up hope. That takes a different kind of strength. Daejung stood on the bridge looking at the tactical display. The cleanup after battle was always harder than the fighting. Daejung stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching rescue operations unfold across multiple screens. Human ships were collecting escape pods, pulling survivors from damaged vessels, providing medical aid to wounded Dominion personnel. Casualty report, he requested quietly. Captain Hana consulted her datapad. On our side, 14 personnel injured, none critically. Ship damage is minimal and being repaired. On the Dominion side, estimated 3,000 dead, another 2,000 wounded, 5,000 captured. Daejung closed his eyes briefly. 8,000 lives affected by 6 hours of combat. The numbers felt heavy. Make sure all prisoners receive proper medical care. No exceptions. Already done. Sir. Dr. Bora has medical teams working on both human and Dominion wounded. The medical bay on the Indomitable was crowded with injured from both sides. Dr. Bora moved between beds, checking on patients with equal care regardless of which species they belonged to. A young Dominion soldier, his arm badly burned, watched her with confusion. Why are you helping me? He asked. I tried to kill you. Bora looked at him with tired but kind eyes. Because you are hurt. That is the only reason I need. The soldier started crying. In his entire military service, he had never seen compassion offered to defeated enemies. The Dominion did not take prisoners. They did not give medical aid. They conquered or they killed. High Commander Wrath was brought to the Indomitable in restraints. He was injured but alive, his pride wounded more than his body. Guards escorted him to a holding cell that was clean, well-lit, and more comfortable than he expected. Captain Hana came to speak with him personally. She stood outside the cell, studying the defeated commander with analytical interest. "You fought well," she said. "Your tactics were solid for what you knew, but you had never faced an enemy that did not follow your rules." Wrath glared at her. "You fight without honor. You use tricks and deception instead of honest combat." Hana smiled coldly. "We fight to win. Honor does not protect the innocent. Courage does not stop tyranny. Results matter, and the result here is that the Kessari are free. That is all the honor I need. The Dominion will send more ships, bigger fleets. You cannot defeat the entire empire, maybe not, but we can make you afraid. We can show every species you have enslaved that the empire is not invincible. Fear is a powerful weapon, Commander. You used it for generations. Now we turn it back on you." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Tae-Wan was leading a team to Velthar's station. The docking was delicate because the station's systems were failing, but Tae-Wan managed it with his usual skill. The team entered carefully, not knowing what they would find. The station was dark, cold, and filled with the smell of recycled air pushed far beyond its limits. They found Velthar in the communications room, still sitting at the console where he had sent his message weeks ago. When the old Kessari saw the humans, he stood slowly. "You are real. I began to think I was hallucinating." Tae-Wan removed his helmet and smiled. "We are very real, and we are here to help. Can you walk? We need to get you to a medical bay." "I can walk. I have been hiding and surviving for months. I can manage a little longer." But when Velthar tried to stand, his legs gave out. Tae-Wan caught him gently. "Pride will not help you now. Let us carry you. Save your strength for later." They brought Velthar to the Indomitable, where Dr. Bora examined him. He was malnourished, dehydrated, and exhausted, but alive. She worked quickly to stabilize him while asking gentle questions. "How many Kessari remain in this system?" Velthar's answer made her heart sink. "On this station, just me. On the planet below, perhaps 2,000. Most were taken to labor camps in other systems. Millions scattered across Dominion space, and we will find them," Bora promised. "This is not just about freeing one station. This is about breaking the chains everywhere." Over the following days, the humans began to understand the full scope of what they had stumbled into. The Dominion was vast, controlling hundreds of systems. They had enslaved 17 different species over the past 2 centuries. Their empire was built entirely on subjugation and exploitation. Daejung called a meeting of his senior officers to discuss next steps. They gathered in the Indomitable's briefing room, faces grim. "We won a battle," Daejung began, "but this is not a war we can win alone. The Dominion has resources we cannot match. More ships, more personnel, more territory." "Then what do we do?" asked one of the cruiser captains. "We cannot just leave. The moment we go, the Dominion will return with a larger fleet." Captain Hana spoke up. "We do not fight them ship to ship. We fight them the way we fought today. With information. With psychology. With proof that they can be beaten." "What do you mean?" Daejung asked, though he already had an idea. "We broadcast everything. Every second of that battle. We send it to every system under Dominion control. We show every enslaved species that the Empire is not invincible. We give them hope, and hope is more dangerous to tyrants than any weapon." Velthar, who had been listening from a wheelchair, spoke up. "She is right. The Dominion's greatest weapon is not their fleet. It is despair. They made us believe resistance was impossible. Break that belief and you break their power." The decision was made. Human communications officers began preparing the battle recordings for broadcast. But they did not just send raw data. They included context, explanation. A message, Dr. Bora wrote most of it, with input from Daejung and Velthar. "To all species under Dominion control, we are humans from the planet Earth. We received a distress call from the Kessari people. We came to help. What you are about to see is 6 hours of combat between our fleet and Dominion forces. We are sharing this not to boast, but to show you the truth. The Empire can be defeated. You are not helpless. You are not weak. You were simply denied the chance to fight back. That changes now. We will help any species that seeks freedom. You are not alone anymore." The broadcast went out on every frequency, through every relay station the humans could access. Within days, it had spread across Dominion space like wildfire. On slave worlds, workers gathered in secret to watch the recordings. They saw human ships moving with impossible speed and agility. They saw Dominion vessels burning and surrendering. They saw proof that the Empire could bleed. Rebellions started almost immediately, small at first. Workers refusing orders, slaves sabotaging equipment. But the Dominion had to divert forces to contain these uprisings, weakening their ability to respond to the human presence. Back at Kesari Prime, the humans were dealing with more immediate concerns. The Dominion prisoners had to be housed, fed, and processed. Daejung ordered them treated according to Earth's military code of conduct, which meant respect and dignity even in defeat. This confused the prisoners. Many expected torture or execution. Instead, they received medical care, adequate food, and were allowed to communicate with each other. Some remained hostile, but others began to question what they had been told about the nature of warfare. One evening, Captain Hana was doing her rounds of the prison section when a Dominion officer requested to speak with her. He was older, a veteran of many campaigns. "I want to understand something," he said through the translator. "Why do you treat us this way?" "We were trying to kill you hours ago." Hana considered her answer carefully. "Because we do not fight for revenge. We fight for principles. One of those principles is that all beings deserve basic dignity. Even enemies, even the defeated. The Dominion does not operate this way. We know. That is one of many reasons we oppose you." The officer was quiet for a long moment. "I have served the Dominion for 40 cycles. I have helped conquer 6 species. I believed we were bringing order to chaos. But if we are order, and you are chaos, then I have been wrong about everything." "It is never too late to change," Hana said gently. "You cannot undo the past, but you can choose what you do next." Meanwhile, Daejung was facing a difficult decision. Earth Command had sent new orders. The fleet was to remain at Kesari Prime until relief forces arrived, but that would take months. In the meantime, they were the only thing standing between the Kesari and Dominion revenge. He called Velthar to his office for a private conversation. "Your people are free of the Dominion presence in this system," Daejung said. "But we both know this is temporary. They will send more ships, bigger fleets. We cannot stay here forever." Velthar nodded slowly. "I know. We have been given a gift of time, nothing more. Then we must use that time wisely. My government is sending support. Ships, personnel, resources. We are going to help you build defenses. Not just military, but political, economic, cultural. We are going to help you remember how to be Kesari again." Tears filled the old alien's eyes. "You would do this? Invest so much in a species you barely know?" "Freedom is not a gift," Daejung replied. "It is a right. We are simply helping you reclaim what was always yours." Over the following weeks, human engineers worked alongside Kesari workers to repair the station and the settlements on the planet below. Lieutenant Taewan spent his off-duty hours teaching young Kesari about ships and flying. Dr. Bora established a cultural center where Kesari elders could begin recording their history before it was lost forever. But the most important work was happening in the hearts of the Kesari people. They were remembering how to hope, how to dream. 3 months had passed since the Battle of Kesari Prime, and the galaxy was changing in ways no one had predicted. Commander Daejung stood in the newly rebuilt command center on the Kesari station, reviewing reports from across Dominion space. Each report told a similar story. Uprisings, rebellions, Dominion, forces retreating or being defeated by species they had enslaved for generations. The latest count shows 47 systems in active rebellion, Captain Hana reported. Another 63 showing signs of organized resistance. The Dominion is losing territory faster than they can respond. How many casualties? Daejung asked. That question haunted him every day. Too many, but fewer than if they had done nothing. Freedom is never free, Commander. Earth had sent reinforcements as promised. 20 more ships now patrolled the Kesari system, and another 100 were spread across nearby systems that had requested protection. The United Earth Space Command had gone from a small exploration force to a galactic military presence in less than 4 months, but the real change was not military. It was psychological. Dr. Bora walked through the new Interspecies Cultural Center, a massive facility built in the heart of the Kesari station. Different species walked the halls together, sharing stories, art, and knowledge that had been suppressed for generations. She stopped to watch a Kesari elder teaching songs to a group of young beings from 3 different species. The children's voices rose in harmony, different languages blending into something beautiful and strange. "Is this what you imagined?" Velthar asked, joining her. He looked healthier now, his body recovered from months of starvation and stress. "I imagined hope," Bora replied. "This is better. This is joy." Velthar had become something he never expected to be, a leader, not of the Kesari alone, but of the growing resistance movement across multiple species. He coordinated communications, shared intelligence, and helped newly freed peoples navigate the difficult transition from slavery to self-governance. "I received a message this morning," he told Bora, "from the Miran people. They just drove the last Dominion forces from their homeworld. They are asking for guidance on rebuilding their government." "What did you tell them?" "That I have no answers, only experiences. That freedom is something each species must define for themselves, but that they are not alone in figuring it out." Lieutenant Taiwan was in the training center, working with Kesari volunteers who wanted to learn how to defend their system. He had discovered that while the Kesari were not natural warriors, they were incredibly quick learners when given proper instruction. "Remember, combat is not about being stronger," he told the class. "It is about being smarter, using what you have in ways the enemy does not expect." A young Kesari raised her hand. "But we do not have much. Our ships are old. Our weapons are limited." "Then you use that. Make the enemy think you are weak. Lure them into traps. Hit them where they are not looking. Humans survived on Earth not because we were the strongest species, but because we were the most adaptable." After the class, one of his students approached him nervously. "Thank you for teaching us. For believing we can learn to fight." Taiwan smiled. "You already know how to fight. You survived 3 generations of slavery. That takes a different kind of courage, but it is still courage. I am just showing you new ways to use it." On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Hana was dealing with a different kind of challenge. High Commander Wrath had requested a meeting. She had been avoiding it, but her curiosity finally won out. She entered the holding area where Wrath was kept. He looked older now, the weight of defeat aging him in ways combat never had. "Why did you want to see me?" she asked directly. "To understand. You could have killed me. You could have executed all of us. Instead, you treat us with respect we do not deserve." "Why?" Hana sat down across from him. "Because killing you would be easy. Teaching you to be better is harder. Which do you think has more value?" "The Dominion will see it as weakness. Let them. Humans learned something important in our history. Empires built on fear and violence always fall. Alliances built on mutual respect last. We are not building an empire. We are building something better." Wrath was quiet for a long time. "I have been monitoring communications. I hear what is happening across Dominion space. We are losing everything. You are losing control. The species you enslaved are gaining freedom. Those are not the same thing. What will happen to us? To me and my crew? That depends. On what you choose. On whether you can become something other than conquerors. We are offering every Dominion prisoner a choice. Face trial for war crimes, or work with us to rebuild what the Empire destroyed. Some have chosen trial. Most have chosen to help. You would trust us to help rebuild? Trust must be earned, but everyone deserves the chance to earn it." Across the galaxy, the impact of Earth's actions was spreading in unexpected ways. Species that had never met were communicating with each other, forming their own networks of resistance and support. The Dominion's iron grip was breaking not because of military defeat alone, but because the psychological foundation of their empire had crumbled. 23 different species sent formal requests to Earth, asking to join what they were calling the Galactic Liberation Coalition. It was not an empire or even a traditional alliance. It was something new, a loose network of species committed to mutual defense and cultural respect. Daejung found himself in conference calls with alien leaders, politicians from Earth and military commanders, trying to create a structure that would work for everyone. "We cannot become what we fought against," he insisted during one heated discussion. "If we start dictating terms to other species, we are just another empire with a nicer name." "Then what do you propose?" asked an admiral from Earth Command. "Each species governs itself. We provide military support when requested. We share technology and knowledge freely. We make decisions together, not through force but through consensus. That will be slow and messy. Democracy usually is. But it is better than the alternative. The agreement that emerged was imperfect and would need constant refinement, but it was a start. The Galactic Liberation Coalition was officially formed, with Earth as one of many equal members. On the day of the signing ceremony, representatives from 17 species gathered on the Kasari station. It was the first time in recorded history that so many different beings had come together as equals. Velthar gave a speech that was broadcast across multiple systems. For 3 generations, my people knew only slavery. We forgot what freedom felt like. We forgot that we had value beyond our labor. Earth reminded us, not just the Kesari, but every species that had been crushed by the Dominion. They showed us that resistance is possible, that tyranny can be challenged, that we are stronger together than any empire built on fear. He paused, looking at the assembled delegates. This is not the end of our struggles. The Dominion still exists. Other threats will emerge, but we face them together now. Different species, different worlds, united by simple principles. Freedom is a right. Dignity matters, and no one should face oppression alone. The applause that followed was a sound unlike anything the station's walls had ever contained. Different voices, different tones, but all expressing the same emotion. Hope. Dr. Bora watched the ceremony with tears in her eyes. This was what she had dreamed of when she became a xenobiologist. Not just studying alien species, but connecting with them, building bridges across the stars. Taewan stood with his Kasari students who had graduated from basic training and were now officially part of their system's defense force. They were not soldiers in the traditional sense. They were protectors, guardians of the freedom they had just regained. Hana stood beside Daejung, both of them watching the ceremony from the Indomitable's observation deck. "Do you think it will last?" she asked. "Nothing lasts forever, but we gave it a foundation. What happens next is up to them, and us? What happens to Earth's fleet?" Daejung smiled slightly. "We keep doing what we started, protecting those who need protection, standing against tyranny wherever we find it." As if on cue, an alert chimed on Hana's datapad. She read it and looked at Daejung with a mixture of concern and excitement. "We have received a new distress signal from the other side of the galaxy. A species called the Tauren. They are under attack by a different empire. They are asking for help." Daejung looked out at the stars, vast and endless. Somewhere out there, people were suffering. People who needed help. People who had sent a desperate message into the void, hoping someone would hear. "How long until we can assemble a response fleet?" 4 days if we move fast. Then we move fast. Alert the crew. Let the other coalition members know we are responding. This is what we signed up for." Hana nodded and left to begin preparations. Daejung remained at the window, thinking about how much had changed since Velthar's original message reached Earth. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage not as explorers or traders, but as liberators. They had shown the galaxy that Deathworlders could be defenders. That strength could be used to protect rather than dominate. The age of the Dominion was ending. A new era was beginning. One where species stood together instead of being crushed alone. One where tyranny would face organized resistance instead of helpless victims. It would not be easy,